The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, has ordered the revocation of 762 plots of land belonging to some prominent Nigerians and corporate organizations for failing to pay for the Certificate of Occupancy (CFO) of the properties in Abuja. Wike also threatened to withdraw the right of occupancy (RFO) of 614 other individuals and companies if they fail to pay outstanding bills for their plots within 2 weeks. The plots are located in the highbrow Maitama 2 district of the Federal Capital. These are contained in 2 separate public notices issued by the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA. Amongst those whose CFO were revoked, according to the notice, are Muhammadu Buhari Trust Foundation, owned by former President Muhammadu Buhari, a former Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, Walter Onohen, a Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State, Secretary to his Government of the Federation, SGF, George Akume, and his wife, Regina. Others are former Governor Rochas Okorocha of Imo State, Ben Ayadi of Cross River, Seriake Dixon of Bayelsa, Shaba Lafiaji of Kwara, Ahmed Sani of Zamfara, and Kabiru Gaya of Kano State. Now, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, has summoned the chairman of all 18 local government areas in Edo State as part of an ongoing investigation into financial practices. In a letter addressed to the Secretary to the State Government through the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, the EFCC outlined the need for clarification on specific financial matters. The letter, signed by Abdulkarim Chokol, the EFCC's Director of Investigation, directed the chairman to appear at the Commission's Benin Zone Directorate. The summoned officials are required to bring certified true copies of documents related to staff strength, payroll, and financial accounts, including details of accounts used for receiving and reserving funds for staff salaries. They're also expected to provide account statements covering the period from January 1st, 2024 to date, alongside any other relevant documents. Let's also tell you that the National Bureau of Statistics late on Wednesday announced that its newly redesigned official website had been hacked. This announcement was made in a brief statement posted on its X, formerly Twitter account. The NBS disclosed the incident and assured the public that efforts are underway to recover the website. It urged the public to disregard any messages or reports posted until the full recovery of its website. The statement on X read, and I quote, "This is to inform the public that the NBS website has been hacked and that we are working to recover it. Please disregard any message or report posted until the website is fully restored." The hacking of the NBS website occurred barely 2 weeks after the Bureau unveiled its redesigned platform. This incident raised concerns about the potential misuse of official data and the integrity of vital national statistics during the recovery period. Now, the federal government has strengthened the Nigerian Army's operational capacity with the acquisition of 43 Bayraktar TB2 drones, primarily for deployment in the Northwest Theater of Operations. This was disclosed in Abuja by the commander of the Nigerian Army Space Command, Brigadier General Uji Ogeleka. The initiative, codenamed Project Guardian, aims to strengthen military operations against insurgency and other security challenges in the region, said Brigadier General Uji Ogeleka. Now, commander of the Nigerian Army Special Space Command, who spoke in Abuja during the winging ceremony of 43 personnel trained in the operation and maintenance of the drones, explained that between May and September 2022, a team of 35 officers and 11 soldiers from the Nigerian Army's routinely piloted aircraft system regiment underwent specialized training in Turkey on the operation and maintenance of the Bayraktar TB2 drones. Now, Delta State Commissioner of Police has presented the command's 2024 performance report at the command headquarters in Asaba. Amid the presentation came the harrowing tale of a young girl suspected of drowning her 10-month-old baby in a river, possibly due to the stigma of an unplanned pregnancy, before falsely reporting the child missing at a police station. News Central's Austin Azu brings us this disturbing story and other highlights from the Delta State Police Command's end-of-year briefing.
The state has grappled with numerous security challenges over the years, including kidnapping, courtesan, crude oil theft, pipeline vandalism, armed robbery, ritual killings, and more. At the state police headquarters in Asaba, these suspects might be among those contributing to the rising insecurity in the state. The Commissioner of Police, accompanied by his management team, presented the Command's 2024 performance report at the Command headquarters in Asaba, the Delta State capital.
Under my watch, the Command arrested over 678 suspects, including 130 suspected armed robbers, 88 suspected kidnappers, 76 murder suspects, 229 suspected cultists, 54 suspects arrested for rape and defilement offenses, a total number of 150 firearms.
Among the highlights was the case of a young girl who allegedly drowned her 10-month-old baby, reportedly due to mockery from friends questioning the child's paternity. Strangely, after discarding the baby in the river, she went to a police station to file a missing child report, but fate caught up with her. While still in the station, officers received a call about a dead baby found floating in the river.
Under investigation, she eventually confessed. And now, for me, this is what I would like you guys to help us look at. And she came to the conclusion and said that because her friends were laughing at her, that the child does not have a father, was why she needed to kill the child. Her friends were going out making money and jumping, and then they were laughing at her that, this your baby that you are carrying does not have a father. And this young girl, and I'm sure she's somewhere, if the ladies there will talk to her, decided to kill this innocent child.
In another disturbing incident, the CP recounted how an 8-year-old baby was sold for ritual purposes for a mere 30,000 naira.
Who lured this other child to a herbalist where his throat was slit, vital organ taken because the man had promised him 30,000 naira. If you get me a child, I can always pay you 30,000 naira a child. And that young, innocent 8-year-old was slaughtered, his blood drained into a calabash. We have arrested some of them, but we would like to tell the herbalist that we're on his trail. Whether he likes it or not, we will bring him to justice.
The mother of the drowned baby and the suspect involved in that attempted ritual narrated their roles during police investigations.
The workload don't too much for me. So I don't know what enter me. Anger just enter me. I can't go through am. Now my friend provoke me. I want to make everybody forgive me and make my family forgive me too.
I stand for a machine. There are no follow enter way for kill the boy. When I waka comot, come back for there again, make I come see wetin they do for there again. I come out, they don't kill the boy already.
CP Abani Wonder also showcased several operational successes, including the recovering of 32 AK-47, AK-49 rifles, 27 Beretta pistols, 72 single-barrel and quarter-size guns, 19 pump-action guns, 5,042 rounds of ammunition and cartridges. Imagine these arms in the wrong hands in our society. What could be the fate of innocent citizens? Your guest could be good as mine. In Asaba, for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
A sad one there, the report put together by Austin Azu, News Central's correspondent. Now, President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday presented the 2025 budget proposal at approximately 49.7 trillion naira to a joint session of the nation's parliament for consideration. The bill, titled Budget of Restoration, Securing Peace, Rebuilding Prosperity, projects internally generated revenue of around 34.82 trillion naira as part of funding for the budget, with an estimated 15.81 trillion naira allocated for debt servicing. A correspondent, Idong Joseph, has more on this story.
President Bola Tinubu arrives at the chamber of the House of Representatives, where members of both the House and the Senate are duly seated. Also in attendance are members of the Federal Executive Council and several high-ranking officials of the presidency. The session began with the opening remarks from the President of the Senate, commending current efforts in addressing insecurity and attracting direct foreign investment, amongst others.
The reduction in kidnapping incidents and the neutralization of over thousands of terrorists and insurgents remain another major testament to your patriotic zeal, your strength, and your determination to change the future of this country. Your dedication to fostering international relations paves the way for fruitful partnerships that will propel our nation forward. We are witnessing a resurgence in foreign direct investment.
However, he expressed concern about some of his colleagues' misunderstanding of the tax reform bill currently before the parliament, noting that those opposing the reforms may not have studied the proposal adequately.
It is disheartening that those who have not yet taken time to understand the initiative, the focus, are the ones shouting the loudest as critics. But we will make sure that we listen to Nigerians and dot the I's and cross the T's to the satisfaction of all Nigerians and for the benefit of this country.
Following his speech, President Tinubu presented the 2025 budget proposal to the lawmakers, saying that it will focus on education, health, infrastructure, and security, with over 14.9 trillion naira allocated to these sectors.
The highlights of the 2025 budget allocations: defense and security, 4.91 trillion naira. Infrastructure, 4.06 trillion naira. Health, 2.48 trillion naira. Education, 3.5 trillion naira.
He adds that through the budget, the government aims to reduce the current inflation rate of 34.6% by more than half of its current value.
This is an ambitious but necessary budget to secure our future. The budget projects inflation will decline from the current rate of 34.6% to 15% next year, while the exchange rate will improve from approximately 1,700 naira per dollar to 1,500 naira.
According to the president, the 2025 budget is not merely a statement, but presents government's renewed commitment to strengthen critical sectors for economic growth. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has faulted the 2025 budget proposal presented by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, describing it as unrealistic, opaque, and insincere. Now, PDP National Publicity Secretary Debo Ologunagba, in a statement on Wednesday, said the budget was anti-people, warning that its implementation would worsen insecurity, poverty, and despair across the nation. Tinubu unveiled the 49.7 trillion naira 2025 budget proposal during a joint session of the National Assembly, allocating 4.91 trillion naira for defense and security, 4.06 trillion naira for infrastructure, 2.48 trillion naira for health, and 3.52 trillion for education. But the opposition party criticized the budget presentation, alleging it was riddled with unverified economic figures and empty campaign promises. We're still talking about the budget proposal. The President Bola Tinubu's presentation of the 2025 budget to the National Assembly outlines a record 47.9 trillion naira expenditure, raising questions about its feasibility. Speaking with News Central after the budget presentation, financial market and economic analyst Mukhtar Mohammed described it as ambitious, expressing concerns over the $75 per barrel crude oil benchmark, which he considered unrealistic given global market uncertainties and policies favoring lower oil prices. He also labeled the projection of reducing inflation to 15% by year-end 2025 as an economic miracle, citing rising energy costs and the depreciating naira as significant obstacles to achieving these fiscal targets. News Central's Perpetual Fasami Peter has more.
2025 budget seeks to restore macroeconomic stability, enhance the business environment, foster inclusive growth, employment, and poverty reduction, promote equitable income distribution and human capital development. In year 2025, we are targeting 34.8 trillion naira in revenue to fund the budget. Government expenditure in the same year is projected to be 47.90 million naira, including a trillion naira, including 15.81 trillion naira for debt servicing. The budget projects inflation will decline from the current rate of 34.6% to 15% next year.
President Bola Tinubu anchored these projections on reduced petroleum imports, increased exports of refined products, bumper harvests, lower food imports, and higher foreign exchange inflows via foreign portfolio investments. However, financial analyst Mukhtar Mohammed deemed many of these assumptions unrealistic, citing challenges like volatile oil markets, rising energy costs, and a weakening naira.
This budget is ambitious, and today again I'm repeating that statement. This budget is ambitious, especially when you look at that inflation project. That means you are talking about almost 50 something percent in terms of reduction in inflation. I mean that would be one of the economic miracle of the century. You look at oil price at $75 per barrel. And you ask yourself, with the advert of Donald Trump, after today that the president is presenting the budget, oil price hovering around $78 to $76 per barrel. That is even before the advent of President Trump. President Trump is not a supporter of increment in oil price. He prefers a low oil price, which also helps the American economy.
The 2025 budget, titled The Restoration Budget, Securing Peace, Rebuilding Prosperity, outlines key priority areas. These include defense and security, with an allocation of 4.91 trillion naira, infrastructure with 4.06 trillion naira, health with 2.48 trillion naira, and education, which receives 3.52 trillion naira. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Perpetual Fasami Peter.
We go on a short break now. When we come back, Oyo State government arrests organizers of Ibadan Children's End-of-Year Fun Fair, where scores are believed to have died in a stampede. We have the details shortly. Join us again. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf has prominent new jobs for members of his cabinet who were laid off following a reshuffle of his cabinet last week. Among the officials relieved of their jobs were 5 commissioners, the secretary to the state government, and the chief of staff. Speaking to journalists after the State Executive Council meeting, Governor Yusuf dismissed political speculation surrounding the cabinet reshuffle in Kano State, emphasizing that the decision was taken in good faith and aimed at enhancing governance. The governor insisted that the reshuffle was necessary for the administration to fulfill its campaign promises and deliver the dividends of democracy to the people of Kano State. Now, the coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP, and the Human Writers Association of Nigeria, HURIWA, have raised the alarm over a subterranean plot by retrogressive forces to unlawfully arrest and clamp into detention House of Representatives member Ikenga Imo Ugochinyere on trumped-up charges. At a press briefing yesterday in Abuja, jointly addressed by Peter Ame and Mark Adebayo, the groups warned of dire consequences if any harm befalls Ugochinyere, the opposition coalition's spokesperson in the House of Representatives. The coalition threatened to confront those they referred to as political buccaneers who accused of resorting to shut up the mouthpiece of the opposition by smearing Ugochinyere's name. Right now, we're joined by Peter Ame, a member of the CUPP, the COP party. Peter Ame, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
An absolute pleasure.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, Peter, how do you substantiate these very big claims? They really are wide claims. What evidence do you have, and why a media campaign?
No, the issue about our democracy is about vigilance. It's about being alert to certain intelligence that are within the realm of information. So it is not just what you wait in this system. Our current climate and the way this democratic system is being shaken by the political buccaneers and those who are ready to bury opposition at all costs. If you don't raise this alarm for members of the public to go along with the subterranean plot to undermine the principle that has been enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in Section 39 that gives us the right to freedom, the right to own opinion, the right to impact the same opinion, and the right to participate in public affairs without any sense of intimidation, harassment, or the use of state apparatus to oppress the views of the opposition. If you don't raise that alarm beforehand, you will find yourself in a defensive situation. Information in politics and societal public affairs management determines that it is governed by certain principles, and this principle enshrine that you take your matter before the court of public opinion and allow them to look at it properly, and then also help to make sure that those who have decided to undermine our democratic system are warned beforehand.
Now, we also understand that in July, a similar charge was made against the police on this same matter. Is this some kind of politics of hide and seek, or why exactly do you think that Nigerians need to take your claims seriously?
These claims are not taken seriously. We will now go back to days where people will disappear without account. People will be arrested and put in the dungeons like the very bad days of our military experience. Because if you look at what we're talking about, this is Ugochinyere, the current House of Rep member representing that or not, that of South Federal constituency, and the spokesman for the coalition of opposition coalition, which is COP. I'm the national secretary. He was attacked during the election. In a bid to try to stop him from not participating in the election, he was attacked in his community. His uncle died in that same house. I've visited that house in Akokwa in Idato. And his uncle died. There are a lot of injuries that happened. Nobody has been brought to book. Police have not arrested anybody to date. Nobody is undergoing investigation. And you can't tell me that such level of attack that involves the loss of life and very heinous crime was committed at the scene of that attack at his own personal residence. And there's nothing going on there. You don't tell me that there's political order. To see, this democracy can only work when the citizens are vigilant, when the citizens are committed, to upholding the principle of democratic system, by speaking for each other. And you don't wait for the worst to have occurred for you to not know that the right of somebody is being threatened. That had happened that time, and somebody had people have lost life, and he could not even go to participate in that election. But for the love of these people, he was elected in absentia. That this is something you must give people their flowers whenever you have opportunity to do that. Ugochinyere is somebody that we worked together for a long time, and we work together in a lot of ways in trying to promote the importance of multi-party democratic system, to being standing as a watchdog to the development of our democratic system, and this is very key. That's why I had to take time off and get involved in supporting and making sure that our voices are raised and made loud in defense of the human right that has been given to him by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the God Almighty. So it is essential that this is not just, raising alarm for political rhetorics and all that. No, this is a potent threat, and the credible intelligence was intercepted, and it has happened before when this such intelligence was intercepted, and he said he was going, if he was going to die, let him die, and that attack happened. And at this time, we are not saying, oh, we can't just go fold our hands and go to bed. See, for the fear for me, generally, the fear for me is the fact that the dissent is not being treated as a crime. If people have defamation against you, the law is there. Defamation, people try to want to criminalize it. You go to court, you seek your claims, and then you sue the people to court. We cannot balkanize our system. We cannot undermine our democratic principle by just taking laws into our hand or applying the principle of that man politics, where you use state apparatus to suppress human rights and human views. So it is critical that you must know that the mix of ruling government and opposition is the beauty of democracy. Even our constitution recognizes that in section 40. And when it says that you can belong to any political party as long as your rights and interests are protected. And then you go to section 2223, when the multi-party democratic system was established, so that we will not be restricted to one particular party. We will have the right to participate, the right to say our views, the right to share our opinions, the right to also share the policy and the ideas we have for our people. So this system right now, it is not working well for our people when people are undermined, when people are oppressed.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, and definitely we'll be following the story to see how it pans out. But in the meantime, there's not much you can take on this conversation. But thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you.
A pleasure. Now, to more stories, a rather sad development. Organizers of a children's fun fair, where many were feared dead following a stampede on Wednesday at the Islamic High School in Ibadan, Oyo State capital, have been arrested. The state governor, Seyi Makinde, confirmed that the organizers are in custody as investigations continue to determine the cause of the stampede. He made this known in a statement he shared on his official X handle on Wednesday. Makinde said measures have been taken to prevent further death while sympathizing with the victims and their families. Though the state government did not reveal the identities of the organizers, local sources say the fun fair was organized by the ex-wife of a prominent Southwest monarch in collaboration with a local radio station. Now, young Nigerians are taking the future into their own hands as they gather in Lagos for the Emerging Futures Summit, a youth-focused event driving conversations around innovation, leadership, and change. It is aimed to empower young people to tackle some of Nigeria's pressing socioeconomic challenges, from healthcare to governance and entrepreneurship. News Central's Chidima Ona shares more, including voices from the youth on their role in shaping Nigeria's future.
Having a seat at a table is one thing, but creating a space where young people's voices are truly heard, that's where real change begins. In a bid to drive innovation and spark meaningful change in Nigeria, young Nigerians came together in Lagos to share bold ideas, address pressing challenges, and explore ways to foster inclusion and development.
For young people to be effectively included in the scheme of things and make the inclusion faster, I believe the first thing to do is to ensure that there is more engagement of young people at the grassroots level. And before that engagement should start, there should be a form of capacity building.
It's a model that works. Recognizing an opportunity where you can thrive, a place where you can supply value.
It's very important for us to be curious about happenings around us. Government has opportunities for young people.
While Nigeria's youth, aged 15 to 35, make up 60% of the population, their participation in agriculture, leadership, and innovation remains low, sparking discussions on inclusive governance and accessible resources.
We have just about 1.1% of young people who are in politics. That is very poor. We get to see young people make major decisions relating to our health because they are the ones who understand the challenges other young people face. They are the ones who understand the barriers to access services. They are the ones who understand the problems. So when they're in those spaces, they're able to provide solutions, they're able to provide interventions, they are able to be innovative about the solutions that governments are making for young people.
In governance and also in policy development, young people's ideas are important. You cannot create policies for young people without the involvement of young people. So the voices of young people need to be heard. You need to listen to their concerns and also involve them in policy development and decision making for them.
The need for youth engagement in governance and civic spaces cannot be overstated, and the call for policies that prioritize their inclusion remains more critical than ever. In Lagos, reporting for News Central, I am Chidima Ona.
Now, the Nigeria Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative has expressed confidence that the nation will have about 200 conversion centers by the end of 2024. This was during the launch of a state-of-the-art conversion center in the nation's capital, Abuja. Amadine Oyi reports.
With an estimated 209.26 trillion cubic feet of gas, Nigeria has the largest proven natural gas reserves in Africa and the 9th largest in the world. Despite this abundance, Nigeria has not significantly taken advantage of this resource, especially to solve its fuel scarcity challenges. Experts say while Nigeria effects an energy transition policy, its future is in renewables and must adopt compressed natural gas to solve problems caused by the use of petrol.
Nigeria is a gas country, and we have this gas in abundance, so why not utilize it? The future, everyone's future is different, but our future, I believe, is renewable, and gas is on top of it.
Our country's addiction to diesel and petrol is making goods expensive, it's driving inflation, it's making our products less competitive on an export basis, but we have no reason to be dependent on petrol and diesel. Well, God has blessed us with gas, much more cheaper, much safer, reliable, and of course it's environmentally friendly.
As the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative drives the switch over from petrol to compressed natural gas, energy experts at the launch of this new conversion center in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, say the center will help achieve its goals, since several months ago as indeed lofty objectives.
We are about 171 today. This makes it 171 in terms of centers already opened in Nigeria. We're just 7 last year. That's a long way from where we were last year. Before the end of this year, I promise in the next 2 weeks, we'll get to 200.
Some of them say CNG is safe for use because of its properties, which makes it not dangerously inflammable and does not put at risk the lives of its users.
It's extremely safe, and you can see that the PCNGI has been doing a yeoman's job in terms of advocacy. We might have had 1 or 2 incidences which was blamed on substandard materials and so on, trying to be fast. Now, the content of this gas is methane, and methane, as we know, is CH4. It's lighter than air, so in the event of any collision, it disperses into the air, into the thin air, and dissipates.
The PCNGI says that the new centers are made possible through a partnership with the Nigeria Science and Engineering Infrastructure Agency, also known as NASENI, with several other private partners. It says that the initiative hopes to scale up the number of conversion centers in the country to 500 by the end of 2025. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Many thanks for staying with us. Now, at least 39 people were killed and wounded in El Fasher, North Darfur on Wednesday when the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, shelled a medical facility and residential areas. In separate incident, a Sudanese army fighter jet bombed a displacement camp in Nyala, South Darfur, causing further casualties. El Fasher has witnessed escalating violence in recent weeks as fighting between the army and the RSF intensifies. The RSF aims to seize control of the remaining stronghold of the central government in Darfur. The official resistance committees reported that shelling of residential areas resulted in 10 deaths and 20 injuries. The Sudanese Doctors Network later confirmed that 18 people were killed and 21 seriously injured when the Saudi hospital was hit. Now, the network condemned the repeated targeting of medical facilities in El Fasher, noting that the Saudi hospital had been shelled more than 4 times in recent weeks, along with markets, displacement camps, and civilian homes. You through stories outside the African continent. Israel has struck ports and energy infrastructure used by Houthi rebels in Yemen after intercepting a missile fired from the country. Houthi media said the strikes hit power stations, oil facilities, and a port in Hodeidah, killing 9 people and injuring others. The strikes came after the interception of a missile fired by Houthi rebels towards Israel. The group has regularly targeted Israel over its military operation in Gaza. Israel's military said it conducted precise strikes in Houthi military targets in Yemen, including ports and energy infrastructure in Sana'a, which the Houthis have been using in ways that effectively contributed to their military actions.
The IDF conducted precise strikes on Houthi military targets in Yemen, including ports and energy infrastructures in Sana'a, which the Houthis have been using in ways that effectively contributed to their military actions. Israel will not hesitate to act in order to defend itself and its citizens from the Houthis' attacks. The Houthis have been carrying out attacks against Israel in violation of international law, and the Houthi regime is a threat to peace and security in the region. Houthis are also targeting other countries in the Middle East, the United States, and other countries in the world. With their attacks on international shipping vessels and routes in the Red Sea and other places, the Houthis have become a global threat.
And now let's take you to France, where we have been closely following the Giselle Pelicot story, and now a French court has found all 51 defendants guilty on Thursday in a drugging and rape case that horrified the world and transformed the victim, Giselle Pelicot, into a staring symbol of courage and resilience. Now, Pelicot's ex-husband of 50 years, Dominique Pelicot, had pled guilty to drugging her repeatedly for almost a decade, to rape her and to offer up her unconscious body for sex to dozens of strangers he had met online while videoing the abuse. It also says that a panel of 5 judges sentenced him to the maximum 20 years in jail as requested by prosecutors. The court imposed generally shorter terms than the 4 to 18 years demanded by the prosecution for the other defendants, almost all of whom were accused of raping the comatose Giselle Pelicot. In all, the court found 47 of the defendants guilty of rape, 2 guilty of attempted rape, and 2 guilty of sexual assault. We'll be following that story closely as it unfolds. Let's talk business now. Dangote Petroleum Refinery says it has reduced the ex-depot prices of its premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, to 899.50 naira per litre. Group Chief Branding and Communications Officer Anthony Chijena announced the development in a statement on Thursday. He said the price of the product reduced from 900 naira per litre to 899.50 naira per litre is to provide much-needed relief to Nigerians ahead of the holiday season. Chejine said the company also introduced a special offer to further benefit consumers. Now, Nigeria has concluded its first commercial oil bid round under the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA 2021, awarding petroleum prospecting licenses, PPLs, to indigenous companies. Now, of the 31 oil blocks offered, 25 received bids during the 2022/2023 mini bid round and 2024 licensing round. Winners include Total Energies, MRS, First E&P, Sahara Deepwater, and others, signaling a significant boost in local participation. And notably, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, failed to secure any blocks despite qualifying. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, announced plans for the 2025 licensing round and stressed enforcing the drill or drop policy to optimize resources, underlining its commitment to transparency and competitive growth in the upstream sector. Now to sports. Nigeria will host the 13th edition of the ECOWAS African Wrestling Champion, billed to be held between March 4th to 10th, 2025. This follows an assurance given by the chairman of the National Sports Commission, NSC, Malam Shehu Diko, while playing host to the Director of Youth and Sports Development, ECOWAS, Francis Unjuaguna, on Tuesday. Now, Unjuaguna came to ascertain the country's preparedness to host the event 2 months before ECOWAS' 50th anniversary. According to Diko, hosting the event will be in tandem with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to ECOWAS and sports in general. We're still talking sports. Mexican driver Sergio Perez has left Red Bull after reaching an agreement with the Formula One team to part ways with immediate effect, both announced on Wednesday. Perez joined the Milton Keynes outfit in the 2021 season and helped them claim 2 Constructors' Championship titles in 2022 and 2023, winning 5 races with the team. He signed a new deal with Red Bull until 2026 earlier this year, but finished 8th in the Drivers' Championship, 285 points behind world champion teammate Max Verstappen. New Zealander Liam Lawson has been announced as the replacement for Red Bull alongside world champion Max Verstappen in 2025, following the team's decision to ditch Sergio Perez. Still in sports, Paris Saint-Germain has confirmed that Gianluigi Donnarumma will return with the team to Paris today after suffering a facial trauma with multiple cuts. He will undergo medical examinations on Friday and will have to rest for several days. The Paris Saint-Germain star suffered a serious facial injury after being struck by the studs of a Monaco player in their Ligue 1 clash. The Italian goalkeeper had saved an effort from Wilfred Singo in the first half of the match at the Stade Louis II. Donnarumma was struck in the face by the boot of Singo after making the save, suffering multiple cuts to his face. The 25-year-old required medical attention following the collision, but was ultimately forced off the 22nd minute to be replaced by Matvei Sifoniv. Donnarumma walked off the pitch after being treated by PSG's medical staff. Well, that's all on the news at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. Now, we did tell you that the FCT Minister, Wike, revokes plots of land belonging to political bigwigs, including the former President Muhammadu Buhari. We also mentioned that Nigeria's main opposition party, PDP, rejects President Tinubu's 2025 budget proposal, describing it as unrealistic. And finally, we mentioned the nearly 40 killed in latest North Darfur attack as Sudan conflict shows little sign of abating. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Osugu.